In 2022, I decided to take a dive into the world of totally legit ways of playing retro games on totally legit retro consoles by installing RetroArch. And one of the first games I tried out was, to the surprise of, I'm pretty sure nobody, Tomb Raider 2 on PlayStation 1. What can I say? Sometimes I'm a simple man. And while I was playing, I decided to check the settings so I can play on widescreen and higher resolution. But as I went down and tinkered with the options, I noticed a tab that piqued my interest. Achievements? You mean to tell me that I can get achievements in Tomb Raider 2? You can't do that in classic Tomb Raider, so what's this black magic? You gotta keep in mind that at the time the remasters weren't a thing. However, when I checked the achievements tab, it said that I was not logged in. So after some searching, I found another achievements option in the settings menu, and after selecting it, it showed this message. Earn achievements in classic games. For more information, visit RetroAchievements.org. And after reading that message, I immediately went to that site described in the description. And what I found was the most wonderful, stressful, victorious, and rage-inducing thing I think I've ever experienced in my entire gaming life. And that is the world of RetroAchievements. RetroAchievements is a website where you can create an account and link it with specific emulators that will allow you to get achievements for your favorite retro games. And once I discovered this website, it has quite literally consumed my entire gaming life, to the point that 95% of every year is spent in getting achievements in this godforsaken website. Yes, it has quite literally consumed my entire life. And the best part about RetroAchievements is that it has started to get some attention here on YouTube, which is an absolute win in my book. So because I love retro gaming, and not to mention that games nowadays are fucking expensive, I decided to start what would essentially be my flagship series here in this channel, Retro Achievement Masteries, where I will go for masteries for my favorite games, and even games I've never played before. And what better game to start this series than the game that essentially started this channel, which coincidentally also started my obsession with retro achievements back in April of 2022. And that game is Crash Bandicoot for the PlayStation 1. The set for Crash 1 consists of 46 achievements, with 26 of them being tied for getting the box gem in all stages, 4 of them being related to completing the bonus rounds, 7 of them being story related, or progression achievements according to the website, and the remaining 9 being miscellaneous challenges, with 1 of them being a missable achievement. Yeah, we're starting traditions right off the bat, meaning that if you don't get the achievement during the specific time you can get it, you have to do a second playthrough just to get that achievement, which will be a common type of achievement, but we'll see some more ugly ones in later sets. I'm also going to be getting these achievements in what is known as hardcore mode. If you go to the set of any game, you may notice that there are completion bars in every achievement, but you may also notice there is a gold bar and a silver bar. Players that got the achievement in softcore mode will be part of the silver bar, while players who got it with hardcore mode will be part of the gold bar. But what the heck is hardcore mode? To put it simply, hardcore mode is a retro achievements feature where you are not allowed to use emulator features like loading save states, the use of slowdown, rewind, or in-emulator cheats. In other words, you're basically playing the game as if you're playing it on an actual console. And me being a goddamn filthy purist and a tryhard, I adore this feature, especially considering that playing on hardcore mode is the only way you can actually master a game, so that you can earn this fancy golden badge and earn yourself a spot as a true gamer amongst your favorite games. With all that preparation and long intro out of the way, let's begin our mastery of Crash Bandicoot. Our adventure begins on the shores of Insanity Beach, where we can get 3 achievements right from the start. The first one being, what have I got? For becoming invincible after collecting 3 Aku Aku masks in a row. However, once we get invincibility, we have to run, because with invincibility, we can get another achievement by destroying the bridge of boxes at the end without jumping. And there it is, the first one. And I fell off. Oh my god, I pressed square. So after that insane display of my abilities, we go invincible again, and then we make it to the right path to attempt to destroy the box bridge while invincible. To have an easier time with this, wait for the 4th box to appear after hitting the exclamation box, and then make a run for it. The reason you want to wait for the 4th box is because when you step on the boxes, they will be destroyed. But also, because Crash moves faster while invincible, if you go too early, you will outrun the boxes and fall into the pit like a moron. But if you're a bit too late, your invincibility will run out, forcing you to do some crazy moves or restart the level. So you want to be careful and time it correctly. But once we cross the bridge and destroy all boxes, we can get the Iron Boots achievement, and if we backtrack carefully through the other path for the remaining boxes, and get to the end without dying, we will obtain the clear gem from Insanity Beach and get an easy start for a not-so-friendly adventure. Oh yes, a very not-so-friendly adventure. God help me. The next level is Jungle Rollers, but unfortunately for this level and future levels, we won't be able to get the box gem since we need a particular color gem to get access to more boxes. Color gems are gems that you can get just like any other clear gem in this game, which it's really not that special. Something that would be changed and improved in future Crash games. Even though we can't get the box gem, we can get a bonus achievement in Jungle Rollers by collecting all 3 Tana tokens in the level and getting to the end of our bonus stage. Crash 1 has 3 different bonus rounds, which involves collecting 3 tokens of a particular character, those being Tana, Brio, and Cortex. And once you get the last of their tokens, you'll be teleported to a bonus area where you can score mainly some 1-ups, but also it will allow you to unlock extra stages by collecting special keys, but most importantly, it will allow you to save your game. Since this game has a very weird and archaic way of saving, because there are 3 ways you can actually save the game. You can either save with Tana, which is the most reliable save, but the other 2 being a gem and key save, which will annoyingly require you to replay the level you saved at after collecting its gem. Something that happened to me so many goddamn times. I mean, hell, it happened to me when I tackled this game as my very first playthrough on this channel. Now yes, there's also a password feature, but come on, who doesn't have a PS1 memory card in this day and age of 2025? That being said, the Tana tokens are incredibly easy to get since they will appear as you destroy boxes in the level. But once we collect the 3rd token and get to the end, we will have the ability to save our game and get... Wait, but weren't you kidnapped? Next up, we have the 3rd level and our first 2D stage in Crash 1, the Great Gate. However, just like Jungle Rollers, we cannot get the box gem in this stage until we get the yellow gem, which won't be in our possession until we tackle the literal last normal stage of the game. That said, if by some miracle you didn't get to the end of the Tana stage in the last level, you can get it here, no problem. Now, because we have to revisit levels once we get the color gems, and to make this video more fast-paced, we will ignore levels where we can't get the box gems unless we can get an achievement in said level. Although that's not going to be the case for the rest of the game, except for one instance. With that said, we can now move on to quite literally the next level, because it is a level we can indeed get the box gem. And it's by far one of my favorite levels in the game, Boulders. In this level, we have to run away from 3 giant stone balls while destroying some boxes during the 2nd and 3rd chase. However, the boxes are quite literally on your path, so it's not going to affect your distance between you and the boulder. But once we get to the end of this Easter egg found in Uncharted 4, we can collect the box gem and get Indiana Bandicoot. God, I love these achievement names, they're so good. Once we finish avoiding stone balls and climbing up multiple waterfalls, we now move on to our first boss, Papu. And here we have our first boss challenge, where we have to defeat this fat boy in less than 15 seconds without pausing. This one can be tough, especially if you don't know how Papu works. At the start of the fight, you will see that Papu will glow for a bit. Every time he glows, he will be completely invincible and will do damage to Crash if you try to jump on him. However, once he smashes his stick, you can jump on him for the first hit. After the first hit, Papu will glow until he does a full rotation. After that, jump for the second hit. Then wait for Papu to do a half turn and then jump on him for the 3rd and final hit. Watch how Papu face plants to the ground and witness that glorious butt crack and celebrate in a way that I wish they brought back for the Insane trilogy, and we get putting Papu to sleep and Papu popped for defeating Papu. Continuing on with our adventure, we have Rolling Stones. And even though we can get the box gem, similar to Jungle Rollers, we can get another achievement regarding another bonus round. This time featuring Dr. Nitrus Brio. To access this bonus stage, you need to find his tokens similar to Tana, but man, the first 2 tokens are in very evil locations. The first token is almost at the beginning, where you have to fully break this Wumpa crate by hitting it from below 10 times in a row, which is the only time the game hides a token in one of these boxes. Why? You are so evil, game. I love it. And as for the second token, you have to get to this mess of crates and destroy the upper left box for the token without activating the TNT. However, in the case you activate TNT, you can actually save yourself by running forward a bit longer to trigger a bug in Crash 1, where an active TNT will explode but not destroy surrounding boxes. Another thing that I was able to replicate in my first playthrough. But once you collect both tokens, you are set for the bonus round, since the final token is at the literal end of the stage. And once we get all three, we can attempt this bonus round, which, unlike the Insane Trilogy version, you don't have to beat to get the box gem. And if you fail the bonus rounds, no matter which one, you will be booted back to the level, and if you want to try the bonus round again, you have to replay the level and collect all tokens. However, in the case of Tana and later down the road Cortex, once you beat the rounds, you cannot re-enter them again. In fact, the box containing the third Tana token will be switched to a checkpoint, which in some cases can be very funny placements. Oh man, okay. And there we go.
Yeah, look at that. We now have a checkpoint, like, literally at the end of the level. That is pretty hilarious.
Thankfully, this Brio bonus round is one of the easier ones, so with careful platforming, we can get multiple lives as well as the "What are you doing in my secret mine?" achievement. Continuing on, we have our first animal riding level, Hog Wild, where we see Crash prepare to do some interesting things to this poor pig. I mean, look at those eyebrows, man. They are glorious. However, after failing to break a box and smashing headfirst into a native shield, we go again and get the box gem and the achievement. I don't like where this is going. But after we had some fun with the pig, we now move on to the final level of Wumpa Island 1, Native Fortress. A level that is so overhyped for being a really difficulty spike if you're playing the Insane Trilogy. Even though I will agree that this is definitely the hardest level in Isle 1. But honestly, this level is really not that difficult. Now, I say that as I literally died due to a monkey, but that's besides the point. Speedrun through them. Oh my god, my head got impaled. That was awesome. But moving on to Isle 2, we start things off with Up the Creek, our second water level after Upstream. And this level has a nasty secret where if you don't know about it, you'll be looking all over the internet as to why or how you missed 2 freaking boxes. Shortly after the second checkpoint, you will find this path with a bunch of lily pads, with a platform and an exclamation box to the left. Once you get to the solid ground, jump on the exclamation box, and then wait for the lily pads to come back up. After that, backtrack to the slippery log, and you will see a jump crate alongside a TNT. Make sure you activate the TNT, and for the love of God, make sure you see that son of a bitch explode. Otherwise, you may trigger the TNT bug and explode in frustration when you realize you missed 1 box. I should know, because it happened to me so many freaking times. But after we take care of that little secret, we go to the end, avoiding hungry plants, and get the Gulp Pulp achievement. But after avoiding some nasty plants, we move on to our next boss, Ripper Roo, where we have another challenge by defeating Roo in less than 40 seconds. This challenge can be very annoying, but this is all about timing and positioning. Make sure you activate the TNTs at the perfect time so that Roo will be caught off in the explosion. And remember that once you activate a TNT, it will not move once the next set shows up. Plus, Roo has a very generous hitbox when it comes to getting hit by TNT. It's almost comical when you think about it. A failed jump later, and we managed to defeat this crazy kangaroo in less than 40 seconds and finish this level in the most amazing way. And there we go. I beat it. I kind of replicated what I showed in the video, but there you go. So yeah, we got Jack the Ripper and Ripper Ruined. After blowing up a kangaroo, no, that sounded very wrong. Let me rephrase that. After destroying a kangaroo with TNT, we then move on to our first color gem stage, the Lost City, where we can get the green gem for jungle rollers and future levels. And this is the first level I would say is really hard. And that's mainly due to 4 aspects: the precise platforming, these pushing walls that can lock you in place, as you will see later. We have these instances of boxes located in tiny platforms, which can cause multiple deaths if not careful. And finally, these motherfucking bats are the worst enemies in this entire game because of how inconsistent they can be with their goddamn hitboxes. Sometimes you can destroy all of them, but other times you can get killed in the middle of your goddamn roll. Or spin, whatever. But all that said, if you take your time and use the green and red lizards to your advantage, we can get to the end and collect the green gem, the achievement Escape from the Temple, and a new redemption after the god-awful run for my Let's Play where I died 10 goddamn times in that level. Although little did I know that those deaths would be carried on to a future level. Lost City is still pretty enjoyable, even though with tricks and even secrets like the Aku Aku mask in those rotating platforms that I'm almost positive that 95% of gamers found out about it after playing through the Insane version. Moving on up, we have visually one of my favorite levels, Temple Ruins, as well as the first level where we can get the missable Bandicoot Abuse achievement. Now, I'm not going to get into this level, but to prepare you for this achievement, you basically have to make it to the box tally screen and have 50 or more boxes land on poor Crash's head. Now, because bonus rounds don't count for the box total, in the original Crash 1, there are a whopping 3 stages where you can get this achievement. Those being Temple Ruins with 67 boxes, Sunset Vista with exactly 50 boxes, and Jaws of Darkness with 65 boxes. And you want to make sure you get this achievement before you get the box gem, because if you get the gem in any stage, if you go for a stage again to see the box tally, you can't go to that screen anymore, which is the reason as to why this achievement is the only missable achievement in this set. Now, like I said, I didn't get the achievement in this level, but I'm mentioning this right now in case you want to try this achievement with this level. Although some boxes can be very annoying to avoid, especially if you try to avoid every box, which honestly, I don't recommend. My biggest advice is to, if you have to destroy a box, go ahead and break it, and also make sure you break some Aku Aku crates to give yourself some protection. But also, make sure that if you hit a checkpoint, don't die, because if you die after hitting the first checkpoint, or any checkpoint, if you finish the level, you will not be sent to the box tally screen. But after exploring the void and taking a walk of faith on this box bridge using invincibility, we get to the end and achieve the Lost Ruins. You know, even though we've suffered some deaths here and there, we've been on a roll with these levels and achievements. Not to mention that I've had redemption with some of my failures that I had during my OG playthrough. Let's just hope that nothing destroys that streak of good luck. That was my train of thought as I entered the literal second half of the game with Sunset Vista. But little did I know that out of all the levels in this godforsaken video game, this level would be the one level that quite literally just broke me. Sunset Vista is tied with Slippery Climb and Fumbling in the Dark as some of the most difficult levels in Crash 1. However, Sunset can be more difficult for one key reason, that being its length. Sunset Vista takes the cake for being the longest level in Crash Bandicoot 1, with intense platforming, pushing walls galore, and also our very first level where we can get the third type of bonus round, the Cortex round, where at the end of them, you can collect a key that will unlock a bonus level that is required to get 100% and the perfect ending of the game. And considering that I only died one time during my OG playthrough, I thought that this level was not going to be that terrible and I was going to be able to master this game in less than 2 hours. Oh, little did I know that the game would essentially deny me that wish and make me suffer through this level for over 40 goddamn minutes! But how? How in God's name I managed to get ultra stuck in this level, which, all things considered, is really not that difficult. To that, I have 2 possible answers. 1, greed and determination to get this level done with, and 2, well, it's the dumbass who's playing the game, aka me. Hi, my name is Jonathan Wolf, and if you stumbled into this channel by finding this video and want to see my past playthroughs, I'll give you 2 very important facts. Is that I love playing video games and gushing about their soundtracks more than anything in the world. The second thing you gotta know is that I am terribly bad at video games. Now that I've introduced myself to you, you are now ready to see the complete embarrassment that was Sunset Vista's box gem, filled to the brim with the most stupid deaths you can possibly imagine, whether it's by greed, because for Crash, son of a gun, the game screwing with me, the previous one of these levels, Lost City. Oh my fuck, some idiotic move. I am dead. Or all of the above. And the most egregious part of all is that in one run, I can perform the most epic gamer moment ever. Only to die in the most stupid way possible. I'm going to do a viewer voting. Which means that if you want to... That's what I get for talking. That's what I get for talking while I play. I got so frustrated that I eventually said screw it and started playing music to focus. But even after that, I still got my ass handed to me by this level. And the funniest thing, the biggest roadblock I would face was getting the second Cortex token, where I either died after collecting it, or in the worst case, screw up the box jump and starting to ask myself, why the hell did I agree to this? But after some trials, tribulations, and a lot of fails, I managed to get the second Cortex token after some intense concentration. Motherfucker, oh my god. Dude. Only to almost die in another stupid way, because that's my luck, people. We continue down the road and collect the third Cortex token and enter our first Cortex bonus round. These bonus rounds are on par or even a bit easier than the Brio stages. However, just like any other bonus stage, if you die, you have to redo the level and get all 3 tokens again. Thankfully, I do know what this round is all about and managed to clear it on my first try, collecting the key, which for the love of God, don't forget to pick it up, and get Cortex's Crazed contest. And once we're done with that, we move on to Tana stage to save our game, complete the final climb of the level, and kill this red lizard so we can finally finish Sunset Vista, collect the box gem, and get the gem of the middle. Holy crap. Thank God it's over. 40 goddamn minutes on one level. So after that travesty of a stage, instead of moving on to the final stage of Isle 2, which would be a boss, we're taking a detour to our first bonus level, Whole Hog, which is the second hog level and a much harder version at that. Thankfully, this level was a breeze compared to what we just finished. I did not hold jump. With the exception of this very interesting death that I suffered by jumping over the drum, oh my god, what's the word? But after a quick reset and stare at Crash's beautiful eyebrows, we get to the end of this not so difficult level and get...
Oh shit, here we go again.
So now that we have everything done for now on Isle 2, we move on to the final level, which is also the boss, Koala Kong, where we have the challenge of not jumping or taking damage. A recurring challenge in RetroAchievements that has become the bane of my existence. Thankfully, this boss is ridiculously easy to beat without taking damage. See, I knew it, says the guy who fumbled not once, but twice during the final hit. Minecarts. Dude, why are you... Okay. But after implementing a different approach, we get Never Skip Leg Day and Koala Kong for defeating the third boss of the game and finishing Isle 2. Starting with Isle 3, we go into Heavy Machinery. And this level is not that challenging. It's not as cool as Heavy Machine Gun. Alright, but at least we got one of my favorite... Okay, just remember to jump in between these two UFO robots to get some extra tokens, including a Brio token. But other than that, a pretty straightforward level that will give us Nevi Hashinari. That should be a typo, but maybe it's like that because of a joke, I don't know. And this is the point of the game where we will start getting clear and color gems back to back. So let's go! Oh, Cortex Power. A level we have to skip because we cannot get the box gem. Damn it, Crash, you were this close. Anyway, generator room. A very awesome level because of aesthetic and music, but very underwhelming on how simplistic and straightforward it can be. The only challenging part of this level could be the boxes in that time platform at the beginning, but this floor takes longer to fall than a load screen from Sonic 06. Also, as a warning, if Temple Ruins didn't prepare you for this, get ready to struggle with a lot of depth perception in these types of levels, since it can be very easy to mistime your jump and fall right into the pit. But after getting to the end and almost fumbling some jumps because of the slow moving platforms, oh god, yeah, the slow moving platform can really throw you off in the worst case. Also, the perspective can be annoying. Oh my god, if I died, I was gonna flip off. I was gonna end this session. Oh my goodness. Okay. We get to the end of the room and collect our second color gem, the orange gem, that was used for only one game and one game only. But we also get, I am watching everything that you are doing. And so we finish a color gem stage, only to move into another color gem stage with toxic wastes, at level that should be difficult, especially for the bouncing barrels at the end. But after learning the patterns and also remembering the markings that appear on the Insane version that show where they land, which is something that so many people have never noticed, we get to the end on our first try and get our blue gem and Donkey Kong 3D. So, after playing in the void and jumping over barrels in Sonic's ass game, we now move on to the boss of this factory, Pinstripe Pootaroo, which has an achievement challenge so easy it hurts my brain, where you need to attack Pinstripe without letting him reload his gun more than 3 times during the second phase. Even though his gun jams during phase 2, but that's a flaw, let it slide. And as far as I know, Pinstripe's pattern is always the same, meaning that if you hit him every time he jams his gun, he will always start at the left, then to the right, and finally the last hit will be at the center of the arena in that specific order. Once you learn this pattern, you will get the no guns in my E-rated game and Pinstripe Patooey for defeating this wannabe mob boss. Exiting our tour of the factory, we go into our transition level with the High Road, everyone's favorite level. And I will say, this level can be very difficult due to the very precise platforming you have to do to cross this tricky bridge. However, I will say it's easier in this game than the remake, and that's mainly for one reason, and that's Crash's hitbox. You see, if you play the Insane trilogy, you may stumble into deaths like these ones. And that's because the Insane version of Crash 1 utilizes what I like to call a pill hitbox, which means that if you barely make a jump to a ledge, Crash will just slip out of the ledge because of the pill properties and fall into the abyss, which makes the bridge levels some of the hardest levels in the entire series. However, in the case of Crash 1 for the PlayStation 1, Crash has a square hitbox, which allows Crash to make some jumps no problem, and it also allows you to do this during the bridge levels. Now the good thing is that we're playing the original, which means we can do that. We can do this. Yeah, we can just walk over the gaps. And people say the originals are harder. So because of this incredible feature, we can take advantage and have an easier time during some sections of the high road, only to get to the second part, which involves bouncing on turtle shells. However, thankfully, Crash has a bit more airtime in this version. At least I think he has more airtime, which allows us to make it to the end and have to deal with one of the scariest jumps in the whole game. Okay. Oh, I hate this part. Go! Yes! 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 Giving us the box gem and Havali's Revenge. Also, just make sure you remember to backtrack at the start of the level for some easily missable boxes. So after fully conquering our first bridge, it is time to move on to the unanimously hardest stage in the main game, Slippery Climb, filled with intense make or break platforming, insane timing skills, and only one checkpoint throughout the whole level. And people say Stormy Ascent is harder. Thankfully for me, the game decided to be generous and gave me the strength to beat this level on my very first try, which I was so glad to be the case. The best advice I can give you is to essentially study the patterns of the platforms, especially the ones that have disappearing steps like this part after the checkpoint. Alright, so when it gets to the end, yep. So now. It's all about the timing, baby. It's all about the timing. And for this section, which is the scariest part of the level, because yeah, this part sucks. Especially because of the perspective. Okay. Yeah, I always angle to the left. But after a very intense climb just outside Cortex's castle, we get to the end first try and get the Rainy Towers achievement alongside the red gem. We move on to Lights Out, which is our final level where we can't get the box gem on our first visit. But keep in mind that we want to return to this level once we get the yellow gem, because this level will give us a color gem. So yes, we need a color gem to get a color gem. Only in Crash 1. It's beautiful. But now we move on to one of my favorite levels in the game, Jaws of Darkness, where we can finally get the missable achievement, Bandicoot Abuse, where you must get to the end of a level and have 50 or more boxes fall on Crash's head and given even more concussions. I did bring it up in the Temple Ruins portion, but if you miss getting this achievement, you have to replay the game again, just to try another time at this achievement. Thankfully, Jaws of Darkness has the second highest box count in the game at 65, with Temple Ruins being the most at 67. Now the reason I decided to get the achievement in this level is because most of the boxes are in a side area that requires the blue gem. And even then, most of the boxes you can just skip since they're not on the main path, with the exception of this checkpoint box, which is a pain to avoid. I'm destroying this. Son of a... However, on my second attempt, I decided to tackle a secondary achievement, that being getting the second Cortex key. Mainly because if I fail the bonus round, I can just try again when I go for the box gem. But also, unlike the remake, boxes from the bonus rounds don't add up to the box tally on the level. So I make it my mission to get the Cortex token, since at the very least, we only have to destroy the 3 boxes that contains the tokens. Although the second token can be a bitch to grab. And that's because if you knock this snake into the boxes, the snake will most likely hit the TNT and destroy the surrounding boxes, including the one that has the token. So instead of spinning the snake, jump on its head and then go to break the box to claim the token. Then get to this platform and make a leap of faith to the left to run into a secret area and claim the third and final token. This bonus round can be more difficult than the previous one, but instead of being hasty, we want to time ourselves with the TNT. The best strategy that I can give you is jumping to the safe crates while holding the jump button to have a longer bounce so you can land on the boxes as they appear. Then repeat it for the next set and you can get to the end and collect the second and final key, as well as Cortex's terrifying trial. With our second key in paw, or whatever Crash sticks that key in, I really don't want to know, we make it to the end, avoiding more boxes and have 50 plus boxes land on Crash, giving him more brain damage as well as the Bandicoot Abuse achievement. Which means that we no longer have to do a second playthrough because we now obtained the only missable achievement in this set. However, we're not done with Jaws of Darkness, since we also have to get the box gem. So this time we get all the boxes, including this trollish box in the blue gem path, and make it to the end to obtain our gem and the achievement. Exiting the void, we move into Castle Machinery, a very underwhelming level for being the second to last normal stage of the game. That said, this level can be tricky for 2 reasons. The first one being that if you didn't know you can spin the camera bots, you'll be in trouble, especially when you reach this little guy towards the end of the level. And then we have this box bridge, which you need to cross. But thankfully, your boys got you covered. Yeah, here we got the presumably hardest part of the level, but I just do this. Very easy. Oh my god, I got hit. After making it through the box bridge, be sure to spin this little guy, and then ride the platform to the end and claim so close, but yet so far. And as a side note, if you're struggling for 1-ups, you can ride this green gem at the start for some very easy lives. Just make sure you go back to properly tackle this level. As we continue our climb, we stumble across our second to last boss, Dr. Nitrus Brio, where we have yet another damageless challenge, but with the added difficulty of not pressing up on the D-pad. This achievement can be either very easy or very hard, depending on how you decide to tackle phase 1. My strategy was to stay in my starting position as much as I can and stay in one side so that Brio doesn't get stuck on this animation, and wait for the green blobs to come to me. After defeating the blobs, we just avoid the explosive vials and repeat the cycle. But after the 3 blobs, what I like to do is try to inch my way to the other side as I avoid Brio's vials in the process. Oh my god, okay. You can actually spin the... Ah, damn it. You can actually spin the jelly away. But after some failed attempts, we went again, this time avoiding the explosive chemicals by the skin of our teeth. Okay then. And once Brio transforms into a green abomination, we now start to go down so that we can get on top of the block to damage Brio. The timing has to be very precise, but my advice is to jump when Brio's head is almost above the stone step. It should be noted that the first stone block during phase 2 will never spawn at the bottom of the screen, which is why I try to not go down during phase 1. But after the first hit, you will be sent back to the end, but the next stone block will always appear at the bottom. Repeat the process 2 more times and you should get the damageless crashed and smashed, as well as Nitrus broken for defeating the Mad Doctor. After wondering why we didn't fight Brio in a mining facility since his bonus rounds take place in a mine, seriously, what was the point of it? We move into the final normal stage before the finale, the lab. A level that requires the biggest amount of patience due to its retractable bridges, time doors, electric sparks, yellow blobs, and these scientists that can electrify you just by flashing you. But at least we get the greatest scream that surpasses the Wilhelm scream for me, the Howie scream. However, this level also has what it is to this day the hardest section of Crash 1 for me. After the first legit checkpoint, we have this point where you have to close a time bridge, avoid some electric sparks, and knock a scientist into the void. And the timing needs to be perfect, otherwise you're either falling into the pit or you're getting electrified by the sparks or the scientist. And after an embarrassing attempt trying to avoid Dr. Sparky here... Why weren't you electrified? Oh my god, I should have won the other side. I go again and time it as if it was the most important play in my entire life. Okay. Oh my god, it's only half bridge. What the heck? Nice. Alright. Got it. So yeah, don't touch him when he's flashing, otherwise you will die. So you cannot combo him to death. And after some scary jumps, we make it to the end, getting Tana, wait for me! And the P-Gem. So now that we have access to the Great Hall and the final boss, it is time we backtrack to previous levels and collect the box gems we missed, but before that, we take a detour to Lights Out to get our 5th and final color gem. The gimmick of Lights Out and its brother, which we won't talk about yet, consists in acquiring Aku Aku masks, as those will be your source of light in these pitch black levels. And these levels are okay, with the exception of 2 major flaws. If you take damage at any point in the level, you will lose your light source, forcing you to either restart the level or make blind jumps and hopefully get to the next Aku Aku crate. But the most annoying aspect of these levels is Aku Aku himself, because in these levels, when you break an Aku Aku crate, you will automatically get Aku Aku, which in the worst case scenario, you will have less time to get the next max crate. Which made me learn to never, and I mean never, spin enemies in these levels. Instead, you want to jump over or on top of them, since if you spin away, you will actually break boxes in front of you, and if it's an Aku Aku mask, you're screwed.
Oh no. Oh no. Double oh no.
But after going through the dark corridors and riding the P platform, we make it to a secret exit and collect the purple gem, which is our last color gem, and I can't see anything. So after finally collecting all color gems, it is time for the cleanup. Now for the majority of these levels, I'm going to bypass most of the levels since you just have to replay them normally and go to a side area. But for the more beefy levels, I'll make some notes. So let's rapid fire this bitch. Jungle Japes. Nothing that special, just a vertical area with 3 1-ups, incredibly easy. Shield Attacker. This is our first level where we get more level to explore, making it as long as Native Fortress. However, the top section is not as hard as Native Fortress, but you must keep in mind the gaps where you can go into the background, since there are boxes located in the background. You can even do this. Also, yeah, I should have done this. To not only get all the boxes in the background, but skip some traps of the level, since there's no boxes on the normal path where you would usually go in the background to get boxes. I'm not blue, but I can't swim either. Son of a bitch. Okay. The first set of orange gems can be hard to land on, but if you aim for the ones besides the waterfall, it becomes easy. And as for the section after the exit, make sure you time the piranha when you see the lily pad on screen. Paper Crash. Same as Jungle Rollers, incredibly easy, even though going down normally will kill you, so ride the blue platform, you silly. I'm outta here. It's just Native Fortress, but with a new layer in the clouds. Not that difficult, although getting back to the main route can be annoying because of the moving gem platform and the fire next to it. Not to mention, I made some very stupid mistakes during the run that almost cost me. I'm gonna get it. Yep. Oh, I didn't bounce. Oh my god, okay. Oh, what the heck is a hitbox? Oh my god, I did it again. Awesome. That sign won't stop me because I can't read. Easily the level with the most fun gem paths since you have to complete a puzzle involving exclamation boxes and TNT crates. Very fun section, and the ending can be tricky if you don't know the pattern. After riding the red gem at the end, walk forward a bit to spawn a secret plank. Then do a running jump and then count 2 planks before making another jump. Once you get to the end, backtrack the way you came and the gem is yours. I never mentioned this, but if you're struggling with these levels, you can walk on the ropes. However, in the original version, I have never been able to stay on those ropes more than 2 seconds. And finally, I thought I got rid of you. Not too difficult, although I would recommend you bring a mask with you since those plants at the bottom are surprisingly aggressive, and I remember dying multiple times the first time I completed this game. And with that, we just need 2 more gems, those being Cortex Power and Fumbling in the Dark. However, unlike the past levels, I'll give some tips and very easy strategies for both levels. First, we got Cortex Power, a level infamous for its confusing backtracking, but once you learn the correct path, this level is incredibly easy. You want to play the level normally until you reach the first junction. Head to the right and continue right on the second junction until you reach a dead end with a mobster shooting pistols faster than any normal pistol. After taking out and hitting the exclamation box to spawn boxes at the end of the level, go back and go to the left. Then what you want to do is break the checkpoint, but do not continue on with the level. Instead, backtrack down the left path in this new junction until you reach another junction where you want to take the blue gem platform to get the boxes you would have originally missed. I decided to spin this mask away because if I ran through this bridge while invincible, I would have detonated the TNT and fall to my death, which is something that I've replicated constantly when I tried to do it that way. Once we make it out of the blue gem path, backtrack to the right in this junction to break this box, and then continue on with the level. Be sure to hold the jump button while destroying this box bridge, and don't forget these boxes at the end. And congratulations, you just beat Cortex Power and got Cortex Got the Power. Very easy achievement, and really fun to figure out path without unnecessary backtracking. Which means we have one more gem, and I saved the best one for last, as our final level is my absolute least favorite level in Crash 1, Fumbling in the Goddamn Dark. This was the level that I got incredibly stuck on my first time completing Crash Bandicoot 1. And ever since then, this level has been an absolute nightmare to beat, both in this game, the Insane version, And even trying to get the damn gold relic was a pain in the ass. Like seriously, this level freaking sucks. That said, there are 3 important things you want to remember when tackling this level. Similar to the high road, at the start of the level you want to jump backwards so you can destroy a couple of boxes. However, you want to keep in mind the archways, since those will be your worst enemies, since they have a very questionable hitbox as seen in Lights Out. Number 2, refresh Aku Aku when moving platforms go towards you, as you will then have more time to reach the next mask in the light, so you don't have to wait for the platform to come back to you. And finally, every time you see enemies like those rats or spiders, do not spin them, because in the worst case, you will activate another mask, giving you less time to reach the next mask or the end of the level. This is the worst level in the Crash series. Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration. Also, I jumped in the air. I did a double jump. Look at that, guys. That's what it should do. That's the ideal. I'm dead. I'm not dead, wow. I thought I was gonna die because I stopped. Also, I'm almost... Oh, fuck. See, that's what I meant. There we go. Oh, crap. Oh, my God. You know, just because of the fact that I can destroy the boxes prematurely is one of the biggest reasons I don't like this level. And this applies to both this and Lights Out, so it's not a problem for this level only. Okay, this is the end. There we go. Alright, and that's it. That is it for the gems. We got them all. But after some retries and a very close call with these double axe traps, we make it to the end and collect our final gem, and Aku Aku's Light's battery is not that high, putting us at 100% game completion. Although we're still missing 3 more achievements. So let's go get him, boys, in this exciting finale so we can save our girlfriend. We got the final boss, Dr. Neocortex, with our final boss challenge, which is another damageless achievement. Oh, God damn it. Thankfully, this fight is really not that difficult, with the exception of the 3rd hit, where you have to avoid these blue projectiles that go up and down, which I learned that these projectiles have a very questionable hitbox when you spin near them. Alright. Go! Quickly! Darn you! Alright. 2, 3. Die! You son of a gun. Okay. Now, if you don't get the green orbs, don't worry, because Cortex will basically like repeat his pattern. So for example, after this, he will shoot 2 green orbs. However, if you missed one of the orbs, you can just get it on the next volley. Oh, but I got it, nice. Okay, now we get the scary part, which is the fast volley. Ah! Alright, there we go. That was close. Right. Don't mess us up. And we did it. We did it! But after a couple of retries and close calls during the 4th hit, we defeat Cortex and claim as well as Cortex incapacitated for beating the game and saving Tana. But even after saving the girl, we are still not done, because after we skip the credits and load back our save, we can go to the Great Hall and make it to the end of this insanely hard platforming challenge where I almost died. Very intense platforming challenge. And by doing this, we will get to the end and get the true ending of Crash Bandicoot 1. I don't know why, but a part of me kind of wished we had like a super ultra mega hard clear gem trial, like the gem trials we will get in a Crash 2 and beyond. And escape with Tana atop a kidnapped bird to obtain the perfect ending, a shining ending, and finally mastering Crash 1 in 3 hours and 14 minutes with... Oh, what's that? It says 19 minutes. Yeah, it turns out that I had to reclaim the last 3 achievements because for some reason, and I don't know why, my microphone was turned off during the Cortex fight, meaning that I had to redo it again. Thankfully, RetroAchievements gives you the opportunity to essentially reset progress on any game, whether it's the entire set or individual achievements, which is something that I really appreciate, especially when doing videos like these. Okay, so I'm doing this part again for consistency's sake. This part is almost non-scripted, so yeah, I'm just gonna have to improvise, which is not a good sign. But here we have a table where I will be making some stats of the overall experience. And yeah, basically here we have like the game, the console, the achievements, and all that other crap. But first off, we have the difficulty and fun, which I will give it a 7 out of 10 for both of them. Although overall, the set was really not that bad. Although I wish we would have more miscellaneous achievements, something that to some extent will be a thing in Crash 2 and 3, which I'm very excited to get into. But I'm not gonna touch the other 2 Crash games for a while. I want to do other games first. And as for fun, even though I struggle a lot to get all of the achievements, I would also give it a 7 out of 10. I mean, again, if there were more ingenious achievements, I would have honestly get up the number a bit, probably to an 8 or a 9. Then we have time, which I will make sure to always remember to put in my timer, since Duck Station doesn't give you an exact time, and RetroAchievements doesn't give it to you as well, since it measures the time you took from getting the first achievement all the way to the last one, which can lead to some funny stats like these. And finally, we have the hardest achievement, which has no competition. It's Sunset Vista with the gem in the middle. Despite the trials and tribulations I had to suffer, Crash 1 is still one of my favorite games from the original PlayStation, and it is still my favorite game of the Naughty Dog trilogy, as crazy as that sounds. While I do get why people don't like this game due to the insane requirements to 100% this game, as one of the first games I truly beat on my own, this game will always have a special place in my heart, and I'm really excited to head into Crash 2 to see what game has in store for me. Shoutouts to Galactic Spear and the Jedi Sonic for creating this set, and yeah, like I mentioned in the stat portion, I wish that this set would have more miscellaneous stuff, but just to jump the gun, the other Crash games have more awesome stuff. However, that being said, I'm not excited for Crash 3 since that game will force me to get every Platinum Relic, and I'm already angry just thinking about it. Congratulations everyone, you just got a personal achievement by making it to the end of the video. Like I said at the beginning, this was something I wanted to do ever since I started this channel, although I wanted to wait a little bit since I wanted to at least have a base of sorts, even though it was Let's Plays, which is a terrible idea. But, you know, better late than never, and I'm so happy to finally get this started. And at this point, again, this will be my official series for the channel, since I'm going to drop the Let's Play format. However, not entirely, so to speak, because yes, I will still do playthroughs, however, not in the traditional sense. You'll see what I mean when we get to it, but the reason I want to keep doing playthroughs is because I want to give you guys something to watch while you wait for the next RetroAchievements video. Although I will not post them like immediately back to back, so that I can let the Retro Achievement videos have time to breathe without being interrupted by other crap I put. And speaking of playthroughs, for the first 8 Retro Achievement videos, I'll make them based on games I've done for the channel, with the exception of one series, which I'm pretty sure you can actually guess which one. But yeah, basically I'm doing this to keep it a bit more familiar, so that later down the road when we get to other games, or when I start the new form of my channel next year, I will start making some more special videos, because yeah, truth be told, I could have just done a walkthrough for this game and the achievements, but it would be incredibly boring, very long, and also I could just plug my playthrough, which, yeah, I was actually rewatching it to get some notes for the script, and my god, the audio is so low. It's so low, you can barely hear anything. Oh man, it's really bad. But yeah, for the first 8 videos, we're gonna keep it a bit familiar. In fact, the next set is already being recorded by the time this video goes up. Although that being said, even though we're gonna do familiar ground for now, if you have a set or a game suggestion that you want me to do a Retro Achievements video for, let me know in the comments. Just make sure that it isn't Tomb Raider, because I want to keep my promise of taking a break from Tomb Raider this year after the Classic Marathon, even though that break is going to be like completely pointless considering what I'm going to do for next year, which I hate to jump the gun a bit, but yes, it's related to Tomb Raider. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more Retro Achievement content, make sure to drop a like and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell for future Masteries, and also share this video to Retro Achievement fans and achievement collecting fans in general. It really helps a lot, and yeah, it shows that you guys like this content. And also, if you want to see my full run of Crash Bandicoot's Retro Achievements, I created a brand new channel called Wolf Archives, where I will be posting every single one of my Retro Achievement recordings, as well as live stream VODs when I decide to start streaming, which I don't know when that's gonna happen, but again, I'll probably make an announcement as a community post or something, I don't know. But yeah, in that video, I will be posting the full run, all 3 hours, which is such a big video, and also my longest recording session, my longest recording video I've ever done, period, although it will definitely not be the last, long boy. But if you decide to watch the full run, I apologize in advance, since it was my first time doing something like that, meaning that I would essentially explain a lot of crap about Retro Achievements, meaning that the pacing also is all over the place, especially when I try to explain the amazing black magic of the Retro Achievements website, because yeah man, this website is just wonderful, and I am so happy I found it. Like, if I never found Retro Achievements, I don't know what would be of me. Like, seriously, it changed my life, and for the better. Even though, you know, some achievements are so fucking bullshit. But thankfully, for the next video, or for the next set, the pacing will be improved, which I did left a teaser for the next game at the end of that recording, so if you want to see what game is up next, you can go check it out. Anyway, I've been recording for an hour. My voice is almost gone. I don't know if you can tell, but yes, my voice is dead, and I need to stop this recording. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you all for watching. I'm Jonathan Wolf, and I will see you all in my next mastery. Take it easy, everyone.